Yes, love and blessings to everyone. And yes, Owen, we're here again with each other, brother.
We are. It's like like it or lump it, we sign up for that
Yeah.
challenge. As a matter of fact, speaking of that, I was gonna mention something, seeing as we're talking on life matters and motivational things. I remembered something today, and it's to do with like when you're tackling a task on your own, and when you're trying to shift that boulder and you enlisting the assistance of others, or in plain speech working as a team. And it did occur to me, this is something I learned doing music, and when I started to do bands, like organize them myself, the band leader role. It took me a while to figure this out. The penny eventually dropped. And what it is, I'll start from like just giving a little insight into myself and how I tend to do things. So you might notice, Daniel, I often do a lot of work like solo if I can. Music as a bass player, I don't have no option, have to work as part of a team, being in the rhythm section until I decide to do some solo work or maybe bring in some vocals. For now, the whole thing is based on, knowing your role and working as that whole overall band sound without going too far into that. So what it is, yeah, it occurred to me, and I don't know if we've ever talked about this. So I reckon the reason I tend to work solo a lot of the time when I can is I won't say I'm the most patient person when it comes to waiting on others. That's one thing, and most of the time I like to just get on with it. So, and I don't like to at this age and stage cramp anyone's style or interfere with anyone's flow, because I know when I'm working to get the best out of myself, I need to allow my own flow to just, you know, go where it's gonna go. That's what how I found to get the best out of my own abilities. Now, working with other people, I kind of figured out in the bands is you gotta you gotta have the right people around you. If you want to recruit somebody, you know what they do, you bring them in and you just allow them to do their thing. Because any
Yeah.
other method I've tried has always resulted in reduced output. So, there's the
Mm.
micromanaging, there's the this, there's that. Yeah, sometimes you have to step in. That's how communication and, someone sees something the other one doesn't see and blah, blah, blah. You win as a whole. In general, though, I found you know what people's abilities are, particularly at this age and stage.
Mm.
Once you doing the task, you just let people do what they do, and you generally get the best outcome. And that
Yep.
ties into something we spoke about earlier. There's a trillion things you can do on your own. Some things have to be done as a team. I believe that's
That's a
just
thing.
the genetic formula in life. And the older I get, the more I kind of I get to see that as a fact in my experiences anyway. So the team thing and who you got in your team and allowing them to do them, that's why you've put them in your team. And then as a whole, like a sailing a ship or, some other example, you move forward as one, more or less. So anything else, you'll get a result. You're just not going to get as good a result. Even like what we're doing, for example, it's like you let me flow, I let you flow. And, it's like you could say, I don't want to necessarily say the universe, it's like it things go to where they're going to go. And sometimes, particularly in the music context, it's almost like you act as like a vessel. When a band is really just firing on all cylinders, it's not so much work. It's more you are facilitating, generating that sound. And it ain't hard graft. It's hard
Mm.
graft when the communication
Yeah.
breaks down.
Mm. Yeah.
Mm,
I'm with you on that. I learned that myself a relatively short time ago as
mm,
well, whereby because I thought that I'd have to make it, that I would be making it,
mhm,
um, you know, without the need of or help of anybody. But then when I changed my business, when I changed my outlook,
Mm.
I thought, yeah, I'm going to be able to do it by myself. There
Yeah.
again, when I before changing my outlook, I had no choice but to do it with other people because, boy, you
Yeah.
know, I wanted to have a jazz band, you know, with everybody in place, you know, drums, bass, either keyboard or guitarist,
Yeah.
probably a horn player, and myself on
Hmm.
pound, and then you know, I then had to rely on people to actually make the whole thing work. And if they don't have the same or a similar dream to myself, then there's a big void in the fact that it's that you want to go in this direction and you have a certain aim, and then other people, yeah, they want to just
Tug of war.
they want to go in the same direction, but they want to go
Different
around
way.
some other way. Sometimes they don't even know what direction they want to go in, but
Yeah.
whatever it is, it's just not your direction.
It can
so
really
so then after
compromise
that,
the
I went,
outcome.
yeah. So then after I went into business, and you know, like went to really studied that on a level of understanding or overstanding what these guys are they're on, and what and how they got to be on the level of success that they were on, from
Yeah.
the point of view of just helping other people.
Yeah.
And there again, boom, I
There's a
thought,
format.
okay, right, I'll be able to do that. There's a format, yeah. And there again, I thought, okay, boom, I should be able to focus on sorting out all of that being, um you know, I can get people on, let them come on and do what they're doing, and let them start taking over and doing
Yeah.
what they need to do. um
You select
just
them
just
knowing
just
their
just going back,
ability.
yeah, just going back a bit to the band thing, you
Yeah.
know, I realized that even when, you know, you go and you set the music up, you set up everything, you know, you tell them where they're playing, you tell them how to come in, you tell them how what the genre of the song is, and then, you know, you then when you count in 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever the count is, let's go. um
Beyond that,
you've got no choice. You don't
no.
know what the bass player is going
Ship
to play,
sailing.
what his vibe is going to be. You don't
Left
know
the dock.
what the drummer's vibe is going to be, you know, unless, of course, you did a rehearsal and you told them
Trust.
exactly what you want.
Lot to do with trust.
Everything comes down to trust.
Yeah.
And so a team is the only way that some things can move forwards.
Makes the
And
dream work.
if the team members have the foresight and the lateral thinking, there's kind
Mm.
of two different things still. But
Hmm.
if they have any one of those,
Mm.
okay, they'll see where the direction is that the band is supposed to go, that the
Sure.
band of people is supposed to go, and really, you know, play their part and keep their part stable. And if we all keep our individual parts stable, then as a
It
whole,
moves.
the whole mass moves forwards. You know,
Most
and that's
definitely.
all that counts, is that we are moving forwards. Because if
Yeah.
we're not moving forward,
Nothing ain't
then we're
happening.
either stagnant or moving
You might as well
backwards.
be solo, isn't it, at that point? D,
Yeah.
could you check your volume, yeah? Because it's glitching a bit at my end. Maybe if you take your volume down a bit, I'll take it up at my end and see if that gets rid of the glitch. Let
Okay.
me let me see.
What I could do, actually, let
Yeah,
me
you're
move my
smoother.
sound.
You're smoother already.
Is
So I
it?
think I think your volume
Oh,
might have
okay.
been close to 10 or something. So that's where
You know, it wasn't actually, you know. But
something
what
was
what
making
my,
it
what it
glitch.
is I did turn it down. I turned it down.
I've raised you at
Yeah.
this end.
But it wasn't very, very high. Yeah, that's
It's
cool.
still glitching a
All
little
right.
bit. I'm not
Well,
100%
right.
sure why.
What I'm gonna do,
Yeah.
well, I'm gonna move the sound from the big screen to the MacBook.
Okay.
One,
Because
two.
you're actually coming
Yeah.
from the MacBook directly onto the
Okay. Is
stream.
that better? Oh, is that better now?
Um,
Is it the same thing?
we just need you to drop your volume slightly, and we'll see if that improves it.
Okay.
Because it's the mic
Oh
on the
yeah, it went
MacBook.
right up.
Yeah, it's the
It went
mic on the
right up.
MacBook that you're coming onto the stream through.
Okay, yeah,
Anything
yeah.
else in the room is
So,
just monitoring for the room.
all right, I'm gonna get. All right, I'll get a microphone. I'll
No,
get a
no, no, no,
microphone
no.
next time.
You might be good because you had that set up on the last stream and it was crystal.
Okay.
So
So is that kind of reasonable now? Is it okay?
it just say like then it was fine. A few seconds before there's still a little glitching.
Yeah, I've turned it down.
Now it's good.
Like you said, I turned it down.
Now it's good. Yeah, smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, smooth.
All right.
Cool. Press on, press on.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point that to really start with, is that a team is what makes the dream work, man. You got to have a team to make the dream work, because if you think you're gonna do it on your own, it's just never gonna. Well, not never, but
Be there
yeah,
forever.
you can say literally, you can say never going to get there, because
That might be the
you
conclusion.
have to. You got to have trust, and you've got to have people that you can actually even the feedback off of is very, very, very important. You can't just be on something where it's just yourself and
Even a car,
you alone.
you need mirrors.
Absolutely. And you need someone to have actually put the mirrors on the car in the
Yeah,
first place.
yeah,
Otherwise,
that's true. You know what I mean? This is like
yeah,
Flintstones when they build a car and then their legs are the engine room. This ain't no
yeah,
Flintstones business.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you were talking about a shout out and stuff like that as well, that we was talking about
Um.
earlier. Do you want to do a shout out to anybody
So, well, I'll
yourself?
tell you what. Before we really get going for real, I reckon we'll do our video sponsors because it's only a short one, and this is Small
Yeah,
Debts once again. If you get scammed online, if you're owed money, if you, for instance, have a rent deposit that your landlord, landlady, or estate agents just ain't trying to pay back to you, and you're trying to sort it out yourself, you're at the end of your tether, they can take that off your hands and get it dealt with and repatriate that money to your account. So, small debts, the information is going to be in the description. And have a look at this.
Get your security deposit back or dealing with unfair charges? At Small Debts, our tenant advocate service fights to get your money back. No stress, no hassle. Take control today. Visit smalldebts.co.uk and start your case now. Struggling to
Hear that? It's as simple as that. Information in the description. Give them a look in if you need their services. Yes, shout
all right.
outs, Grandmaster D. Who have you got in mind on your end?
I was asking you first. You go
Okay,
ahead.
let me go for it. Let me go for it. Damn, I got a little glitch on my thingamajig too. I'll take my volume down a little touch. So, me right now, I'd like to give a shout out to Jazz Cow. They are an animated, music related cartoon network. Mate who's local to South London. He actually lives just down the road. So if you want to look them up, check them out on IG, just or Google them, type in Jazz Cow and have a look at one of their cartoons. You might find it's very interesting. And they've got some good musicians doing the sound, some good comedians doing the voiceovers, and good designs, etc. I'll also, even though it's kind of slightly coming out of what our subject's going to be about, we did a music related stream earlier. I want to give a shout out to elite artists like and Mere Diamonds, which is Daniel's operation, both music agencies where you can go to if you need the services of a live band or any kind of entertainment like that for your event. Daniel's company, Mere Diamonds Entertainment, do bespoke entertainment packages. And elite artists, they can provide you with solo artists, small bands, duos, and slightly larger bands for most occasions. So I want to give those two shout outs, elite artists and Mere Diamonds Entertainment. Stepping out of the music realm slightly, not that far out. I'm going to give a shout out to Basingi B. Edwards, aka Brian Edwards, one of UK's finest tenor saxophone players. Also, Marcina Arnold, she's just released the album of late. Check her out on Bandcamp. And to wrap up, Daniel Cosby is a old mate of mine. Not that old, because we're kind of old in a youngish kind of a way, young at heart, as they say. He's a fine drummer, and recently you might have seen him either on socials, or if he was able to catch one of Julie Dexter's gigs. He's one of the drummers you might have come across. Fine UK drummer, Jyoti Judaya.
Do you know any of her anywhere where
She
she's
goes by
playing?
that name.
Julie Dexter.
Yeah, she's been playing. I'll tell you what, I've got the tour dates somewhere. So
Yeah. Let's mention some of
Julie
those, man.
I think she's pretty much wrapping up the UK dates. UK dates. Although she's been in London, she's been at, let me see, quite a few places, like the Jam House. She was there on the 9th. And where else was she? Tell you what, make it easier. Let me just go to her website. Oh, the Bear Club. And I noticed she's also brought her family with her, so she's touring with some of her family members on stage.
Yeah.
Family affair. That's a kind of a very I'm sure enjoyable and rewarding thing to do. And
Must be, yeah.
that's about it for now. So I'll hand back over to you, Daniel, before we go into tonight's subject.
Yeah. Let me just shout out a few musicians and basically artists, So we've got Adelaide Mackenzie, we've got Adriano. Okay, so Adelaide Mackenzie is a singer. The saxophonist, Adriano Rossetti Bonnell. We've got Alistair, who is actually a top music agent, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. And we've got Alex Pascals, who is a radio broadcaster from back in the day. We've got
Does he have his show now?
Andre Louis, who was a keyboard player.
Andre Louis is a monster.
Phenomenal keyboard player.
I know who you're talking about.
Andy.
There. Producer, songwriter. You have to give him his credits, Daniel.
Yeah.
Guy's a monster
Andy,
in the studio.
Guitarist.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got Beverly Davis. We've got Bugsy Sharp, who is one of the world's greatest steel pan players.
We've
got Brother Niles Ashiba, who is a great band leader and extraordinaire. We've got CC Gill, who is a singer and organizes a night, actually, which I'm going to talk about next time. And probably one of the people that we're going to have on the show is
that would be nice.
One of the people who we're going to have on the show to have an interview to just hear what they're doing. A young woman who's actually putting on lots of different events.
So people can hear what you're saying clearly. We need to sort out that clipping. I can't be 100% sure what's causing it. The last stream, I don't think it was there. So I don't know if the Gremlins have got in since a day.
The Goonie Googles have got in there.
Since Friday. Yeah. It could just be you're on the MacBook mic. So it could just be how the input levels are set. Although I don't normally touch mine when I'm going from my Mac. It's just automatically, it's got the limiter built in. So I don't know what could be causing it. Let me see. If I turn you down a bit at my end, it doesn't seem to affect it. Let's try now.
Output, yeah. It's just built-in mic. That's all I've got there.
It's fine. I've taken you down on my end a bit. It seems to have smoothed out. Okay, great. Daniel, are you ready to go into tonight's subject?
Okay, let's go, bro.
Let's get it, as they say. Let's go.
CornerSpeak Wadia.
Mere Diamonds, ENT. Not the Mere Diamonds jewelry makers. Somewhere they're out there in the UK, London. I'm not knocking them, not taking any flowers away, any props. But if you're looking for the GOAT on the musical entertainment front, looking to book a band or have a bespoke event put together for you, we're talking Mere Diamonds, ENT. Two different things. Or .com. Yeah, talking about the web. So,
So we've got Piers Morgan here, yeah.
well, Piers Morgan, yeah, he covers quite a lot of good subjects. He's independent now since he got, kind of parted ways with, I think it was GMTV or one of those networks back
One
in
of
the
those big
day.
networks, yeah.
Yes, when he fell out, based on the Meghan Markle sort of online
He's
beef.
got lots of views that are a little bit
He's
maybe
huge.
radical
He's grown.
for
He's
them.
grown. He went
He's
independent, and
grown as a person, man.
as well. I don't know if you noticed this, yeah. At least as far as the lockdown, there was a lot of celebrities and news anchors. The ones that were like, you could say name staple household names as far as the news is concerned, and a lot of them would turn up their nose at YouTubers or content creators, citizens
Yeah,
journalists as they're known. And since the lockdown, when a lot of people were, had a pause in their employment, the whole online thing, streaming thing, kind of increased, and the spotlight moved in that direction more. Since the whole social climate and political climate has changed, particularly in the
yeah,
States, when you look at what's been going on between the right and the left, a lot of news anchors who were running the show for decades in some cases, they've lost their jobs because the viewerships have come down and the companies just couldn't afford to pay them $20 million a year or $10 million, whatever they're getting paid. So they said, we're not
yeah,
renewing your contract. And what have a lot of them had to do? They've had to do exactly what we're doing right here, which is create
yeah.
their own show, their own podcast, and go independent. Piers Morgan is
Which is
somebody I was
which is
never a
what I
big
love.
fan of, although I've grown to warm to him over the years based on the subjects he's covered and the people he's brought onto his show. He can be a certain way when you see him giving people opportunities, to where other channels don't really give them much light because they're not singing that particular tune. And he's also, as you said, he's grown, particularly on this Middle Eastern stuff. He came in with most people. We're totally going in one direction on this thing. And as it's gone on, I've seen how he's growing, and it's like, nah, this ain't right. And then, the people he's brought on, the room he's given them to speak, and then, from disagreeing, I've seen him agreeing with the people a year ago he was disagreeing heavily with. So you're right, he has
Yeah,
grown. And when he's done a good show where everyone doesn't agree with each other, you could have a panel of four and they're going at it,
mm,
and you see how he kind of referees the thing. Most people get
yeah,
to say their piece. That's all I could want from a YouTube panel show, is where you, like I said earlier, you let people do them. I mean, let them breathe
mhm,
how they breathe, and then you make your own assessment. So I've kind of
yeah,
grown to warm to his show. I've done a few videos to that, kind of expressing that point of view over the years. So now and then he will come up with a subject that just hits me in the right spot, and it might hit you there too. This is one of the occasions. I wasn't too familiar with this through the author. I spoke to Daniel earlier, and he is somebody he's familiar with, and this particular book he wrote. So it just coincides with the theme of today's show, motivation and life matters. So I mean, you are familiar with let me remind myself,
Robert Greene.
Robert Greene. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think I probably saw him on other shows before. Didn't realize he was the author of the 38 um laws and some other books in the motivational
yeah,
life department. One thing I would do before we go into it, and then while that's playing, I'm gonna go away and find this example I mentioned to you earlier. It was that it's like a saying, yeah, where they say, uh, hard generation, like a generation that went through challenges, say like the 40s or 50s, coming off the back of the Second World War or whatever. People were used to rations. They were used to a lot of things that we don't have to deal with now. And obviously, they don't want their offspring to have to go through what they went through. The rules of the game was different. In schools, not capital punishment. I mean, that school discipline where the teacher could take out a long stick and it's like line up anyone who did wrong, and it's like hold out your arm, or like
Yeah,
you get it on the back end, and you ain't crying to nobody because no one's come to your rescue. Obviously, that's changed.
yeah,
We would say for the better over the generations. So they say the hard generation gives birth to a softer generation, and thus the cycle goes round. So there's a post where it's got the imagery of the hard era to the slightly softer to where we are now. Everyone's triggered. You can't use certain words if you're a lecturer and maybe you're teaching the subject of war and history. You say the wrong thing, you might lose your job because you triggered half the students. It's like, it's like how much cotton wool do we have to wrap each other in?
oh
So
yeah,
that's the
yeah. I
reference.
agree with you 100%. It's like, me as a teacher
Mm,
as well, in a school,
yeah,
I have to be so careful, if I don't want to lose my job,
damn,
if I
say the
have to
wrong
say the
thing.
right thing, I've got to make sure that
I was
I'm not
scared,
that yeah, but
triggered.
I'm not scared. I'm
No,
not
no,
really
no, not
scared,
you, the
but I
student.
have to
That's
be
the usual
I
thing. It's
just to
like,
be very careful, yeah,
I felt
what
attacked
words I choose.
verbally. Violence. Violence was
Yeah,
expressed
and
towards
there's
me
time when
because you used an aggressive word.
there's times when students will use words against you and you can't come
You,
back again. You can't come back at them, because I also do the reflection room, which is a room that
ah,
that you go to when you're internally excluded. So
okay, to
because you're
calm down.
internally excluded now, those ones, some of the ones in there, they've just had it with the system. Some of them are just, most of them are just on a normal level, but there's always one or two that don't give an absolute dog's a rat ass. You know what I'm saying? They
So
don't
you're
give, they
saying
don't give, they don't care about nothing, and they will say exactly how they feel about anything. And any
they can
teacher
do
that
to
comes
you?
in, any of the so-called SL teachers, SLT teachers that come in and say something, they'll talk to them like they're just talking to any old person.
That's wrong.
And without going into too much, I'm telling you, they are not playing. And because of the
Damn.
fact that they're like that, when everybody else is gone and I have to deal with them in the room,
Mm.
you know,
I
I
don't
got to
have that
deal
kind
with
of
them
patience.
in a particular way. Everybody,
I couldn't do
people
it.
say that I don't, that they don't know how I do it. You
Mm.
know what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
I think it's taught me a
It's the
lot. It's
skill
taught
set.
me to reflect as well. Trust me,
I used
because
to teach back in the
but
day,
there's
like
times
most
when it's
musicians. I used to
but
teach.
there's times when it's got very close to the edge, though, Owen. It's
Yeah,
got close to the edge where I've said something and then it's gone out and it's gone up to other people.
higher ups.
And then, they say, oh, did you say this, that, and the other? And then I have to say, well,
Represent yourself.
yeah, but I didn't say it in a
That
particular
way.
way. And then,
Intense.
I have had to be told, okay, can you just be a bit careful, how you're saying what you're saying. I've had to, yeah, that's happened to me. I can say that. I don't have no problems with saying that at the end of the day. I've had warnings where I've had to just say, well, they've said, okay, just please attempt to, say whatever you have to say in a different way, or call in the SLT, which is a
Mm.
senior line management and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And uh, and let them deal with it. So that's what I do now. I just if they continue on past a certain level, I've said, you know what, you need to just come out, and I have to actually get them. And imagine you're in the room, Owen, right, for disruption or doing something wrong, and
Mm.
yet I am taking, and then I'm kicking you out of that room. So once you get kicked out of that room, so being careful what you're saying to a person like that is
Yeah.
very, very key. So all these people that are doing it online and in Parliament and those kind of places, I've got a very good idea
The
about how they
38
feel, bro.
powers. This is probably gonna give some people a sense of well, it's all part of life, this behavior thing, this current generation, how they might differ from the past generation. And I haven't read that book. I'm sure there's some useful sayings, parables, suggestions, or ideas. So yes, run a bit of it.
Yep, Robert Greene, man.
Let's go.
Yeah. Well, we go back to what we were first talking about, social media and young people being so afraid. And the main fear that people have, particularly like I think in adolescence, is failure. So if I fail at something, if I try to start a business or write a book and I fail, it's going to be a tremendous blow to my ego. And so the best thing to do is to not even try. If I don't try to be good at something, if I don't try to write that book, if I don't try to start that business, then I won't fail, and then I won't have to deal with those consequences. But you only grow by failure. I failed at so many things I can't even begin to describe to you. I was a terrible screenwriter. I was not really very good at journalism. The novels that I wrote basically sucked. I failed over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But each time
I
I
get what you're
failed,
saying there.
I learned lessons. I learned why I was not good at this. I learned that this is not something that I was destined to do. There's something else for me, right? And I talk in my book, Mastery, about Henry Ford, who created basically the modern factory and automobile industry. He failed 3 times to start his own business, which in the automobile industry in the 1890s was forget it, you have no chance, no hope. He said, the only way I succeeded was by I kept trying, and I failed, and I learned by each failure. So coming back to people's fear of trying things, it's only by trying and failing that you're ever going to learn,
Well, I love the quote from Wayne Gretzky, the ice hockey legend, the greatest ice hockey player in history, Canadian. And he has this great quote: "You'll miss 100% of the shots you never take." And then there's also the Michael Jordan one, where he talks about all the shots he's missed. People talk about the great shots he made, but they don't talk about the shots he missed thousands and thousands of times. He took a shot and missed, right? But he, because of the ferocious work ethic, ferocious backing of himself, he also made more shots than he made. And that's how great.
So I want to read out the thing I was talking about, the generational change from hard to soft, from soft to hard, and then it just goes cycling on, I guess, over hundreds of years. The words actually go like this: hard times create strong men create good times create weak men create hard times. There you go. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's right.
That kind of describes where we are now. Harder generation, through to our generation, through to the next and the next. We're in the slightly softer era now, I guess.
Yeah. So it'll start off with a rich person, a rich man and his children, and then they will not want for anything. And then when they have children, those children will end up having to want for something, because those children that were brought up by the rich parent will give them everything, and they will want for nothing, but then they will lose some of the empire, and then their children will have to work for it, and then they will realize that the strength of working together, or making sure that you understand how to deal with wealth and how to keep it, and then their children will be okay. It's a graph that goes up and down.
It's kind of like the generational wealth story, with the hard, strong, good, weak kind of thing. They use the term snowflake to refer to some people, particularly in social media these days, in terms of not having a thick skin. And I also think we're in the victimhood era, where these guys actually touch on that. So I'm not going to say too much, because they'll break it down in a more succinct way if I can find the part of the video. So they actually touch on it, where we're like in a era now where being a victim is something people will virtually fight over. It's like, well, look, like, I've had a harder life, I've got more things wrong with me, I'm going through more difficulties than you, so that ranks me above you. And I'm like, wait, since when is like, negative attributes or kind of failing aspects is something you wear as a badge? It's like, there was a time people strived to improve. Now it's like, well, if you're downtrodden, you know, people will put you on their shoulders and celebrate you. So everybody's like, yeah, well, you know, I got this issue, I got that issue. I started to see it in the music probably quite a way back, where you saw the cultural change, where you had the emos and they seemed to be a moody type of person. And then with the drill rap and what's not, and more the mumble rap. And it's like, obviously, yeah, it's kind of a generational thing. I think to myself sometimes, and it might make me seem like an old man, that they are kind of like going on about some mix-up group of ideas, but obviously to a young person, it makes perfect sense. And yeah, it's like a lot of trauma talk, and a lot of, you know, yeah, it's good that people are considerate towards people's mental health, but now it's like a badge thing. If there's nothing wrong with you, it's like there's something wrong with you, because you need something wrong with you to be part of the group now. You know, you have to say, well,
Yeah.
I'm this or I'm that. I'm not straight. I'm not white. I don't have money. I have some, you know, I'm distressed in some psychological kind of a way. Maybe, you know, I'm not happy with my physical status. You know, either you know, I don't even think you can call people the F word anymore. I think what is the polite way of saying it? I don't think it's physically challenged, but there's some way to describe people that we used to just describe as FAT. You say that now, it's like you're being abusive, you know. So it's like,
Yeah,
you're breeding a generation where you can't even use certain words.
Yeah.
So that's
You
that
can't say
refers
use
to
certain words.
the soft generation.
They've made us turn into people that just literally tread on eggshells, but
That's
they
what
actually
I mean.
talk about it in the video. They talk about it in the video when they talk about Trump
Let's find that section.
and Elon Musk.
You remember what part it was, where it was like in the
Well, that's
timeline?
that's around the middle somewhere where they start talking about Trump. It should be around where it is now, actually.
Yeah.
Yes, see.
Yeah, I talk in my book about a man I interviewed for the Mastery named Cesar Rodriguez, who was the last American Air Force pilot who's been decorated for his fighting in the first Iraq War, Desert Storm.
He's talking about
he was an ace, the last ace in the American Air Force.
You have to graft to achieve things.
Cesar is very short.
Yeah.
He's not physically talented. And when he went to the academy in Arkansas or wherever to become an Air Force pilot, he was not one of those golden boys as portrayed in like Top Gun. Those people who were destined to be the best fighter pilots. He was one of the worst, right? He was out of the 80 people in his school, he was ranked like number 79 or something. Through sheer hard work, through sheer practice, because he loved flying planes and because he knew that this was what he wanted to be, he turned himself into the best fighter pilot at the school. But what he did was he spent hours and hours and hours in front of the simulation, and he practiced and practiced and practiced, while the golden boys who thought that they were destined to be great fighter pilots were lazy. They didn't put in the practice, and he became a much superior fighter pilot, right? So you know, when I did the book with 50 Cent, and you see celebrities, you see your Michael Jordans, your Tiger Woods, or your Cristiano Ronaldo, you only see their success. You only see the glory. You only see all the fame that they achieve and all the glamour and glitter around them.
I'd go one step further and say a lot of the time, that's all people want to see these days.
The same thing with 50. But when I was around 50, I saw how incredibly hard he worked, right? He was one of these people like a Tiger Woods. He was putting in hours and hours and hours and hours, not just in learning music, but in learning the music business and what would create success in the music business.
Like me with a science background, but no coding background at all.
He's a good rapper.
I always imagine any sort of tech role was
street smart, and he just
also
got
well, I was going to say, I interviewed him actually for CNN once. And really liked him. I thought he was very thoughtful, very interesting guy. Yeah. But I remember asking him, you know, he was shot point blank in the face. And I said, what was that like? And he just looked at me, and after about 3 seconds, he said, painful. Well, I remember thinking that must give you that kind of experience again, the kind of fearlessness that someone like him developed. I mean, partly
Similar
it's
to
probably
Trump's
surviving
experience.
something like that. A lot of people who have that slightly fearless streak. I mean, look at Trump now, Mark II as a president. I think that I've known Trump a long time, long before he was a politician. But I think surviving an assassin's bullet has given him a real impetus to make his mark, to leave a legacy that matters. And he feels like he's got another chance at life and the presidency and so on. But without that, I wonder if we would be seeing the kind of Trump that we're seeing at the moment. In other words, there's lots of stuff that will test you, right? I mean, I always bore my kids with the Rocky quote to his spoiled brat son when he says, life's really tough. It's not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and get back up and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. I bet every single person that you've written about in your books, at some stage, that has been what they've had to do, right? Everybody gets whacked over. It's just how you deal with it.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of young people now, they complain about how hard they've had it with all the different crises that we mentioned and COVID and all this stuff. But then I try and point out, look at the generation that grew up in the early 20th century, and they had to deal with World War I and then the Great Depression and then Hitler and World War II.
In the background.
I mean, think of all the things that they had to deal with and all the blows that hit them. I'm thinking of my parents' generation. So the idea that somehow I have it harder, oh my God, I've had to suffer so much, I'm the victim. When you start thinking of yourself as a victim, you become the victim, right? It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You feel like you have no agency. So a lot of people now are talking about the crisis among young men, right? And young men are having a crisis in the United States. They're falling behind in a lot of...
D, you know about that crisis, because it's over here too. Eh?
Yep.
Yeah, you know about that.
It's over here too.
From a few years back when there was the Gillette ad, everything's toxic masculinity. It's like you display too much masculinity, there's something wrong with you, you're on the wrong side of the tracks. And if you're raising generations like that and they haven't seen anything else like what we might have come up seeing, they're going to start thinking gradually like they're the enemy. You know what I mean? Like their natural tendencies, what they'll, roughhousing little kids, and, there's certain thing, I guess, there's outliers to all of this, but generally what little boys like and what little girls like, there's, some set things. It seems like we are maybe coming out of or still in an era where there's just too much social engineering. You know what I mean? Too much trying to model what they want people to be like from some kind of academic constructed theory. And that doesn't always work in real life.
In sciences, in school, etc.
Same in the UK, yeah.
It's an experiment.
And then I say, my advice is, look, this is the culture that you live in. You don't get to choose when you were born or what the culture is like. And yes, there are things that are working against you as a young man. Things like masculinity are no longer seen as a virtue, right?
That's what I meant.
Okay, but you can't change that as an individual. You can't change your culture. That's just the way things are right now. And they'll shift back at some point.
Procrastination isn't your fault.
Look, doesn't mean
but you
have
can't
to be,
think of yourself as a victim.
Doesn't mean you have to be a misogynist or like at the extreme end of any of these things. You still need to be able to express yourself to a degree to grow.
You can't think of yourself, oh my God, I feel so sorry for myself. The world hates me. It's all about women. It's not about men. Oh me, oh my. Then you're going to become passive and you're not going to feel like you have any agency in this world. And I advise young men to not think that way. You have agency. The masculinity that you feel is inside of you. It's not going to come from the culture. It has to come from inside of you. It has to come through your own skills and through your own thinking.
Very true.
Right? So the moment you start getting passive and thinking that, oh my God, I'm a victim and I have to complain and I have to get on social media and blame this person or other person, you're already putting yourself 3 steps behind everybody else. You're creating your own failure in a way.
The ups and downs of the economy can be stressful.
Yeah, so you know, they cover a lot
of an Andrew
more
Tate.
subjects.
All I see
is the
is
bit I
a
think
lot
we
of
wanna
inner
hear,
weakness. I see a
and then we'll lock it
child
off.
screaming out for pain.
It's quite a long.
He's talking about Andrew Tate.
Yeah, that's the bit I'm gonna play. It's quite a long video, so if anyone wants to see it, you can just go straight to Piers Morgan, look at today's show, and then you'll find. Was it Stuart Greene, Daniel? The name of the author? Stuart Greene? Daniel? Was you nodding off there?
No,
it's been a long day for all of us. So we're gonna.
I thought it was the video talking.
Oh, no, it was me. So we're gonna like just play this bit about Andrew Tate because he says some useful things, and I don't agree with everything he says here. There's a little bit of the, you know, putting the blame on, you know, what people like maybe in the manosphere or that red pill side of the culture, what they're putting out there. I just think some of what the alternative is, you know, this, you know, is they're not necessarily just trying to do it on the basis of exploitation or leading young males in the wrong direction. If you look at the feminization of a lot of males in institutions, I think you need that balance. So there's going to be pushback from a different direction, and that's where some of the Andrew Tate's, the manosphere, the red pill kind of way of thinking comes into the mix. But he's generally painted as a bad dude.
I see a child that feels very insecure about themselves.
Andrew Tate doesn't have a good name.
No. At one point, he was the most Googled guy on the planet. At the same time, he was the enemy to many people. From what I understand, he was being banned in some schools. That's a bit of a strong approach.
I can get why, but it's more the fact that they want to indoctrinate the children in school with whatever, excuse me, crap that they wish to do. They wish to do
the feminization.
So then they don't want someone like Andrew Tate who's going to come along and make you an open-minded thinker and fearless and ready to conquer the world. They don't want that type of being.
Yeah, and also this you know, nobody's talking. You don't hear people talking too much. The people who talk a lot about misogyny, about misandry. I mean, it took me a minute to understand what that word meant because you just don't hear the counterweight. You hear about misandry, feminism, and misogyny. Sorry, but the other reverse of that is misandry, and there is a fair amount of hating men, hating boys, hating masculinity that is dished out, even institutionally. So, but these things are never fair, are they? Daniel, gonna just play a couple more minutes of this just to kind of make a point, and then we can wrap up because you know we got we're into tomorrow already today, and there's more to do. So yes, go.
The only way they can feel powerful is by putting other people down. And to me, that's not what strength is. That's not what it means to be masculine in this world.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Although I don't completely agree with that definition of or description.
No, I don't completely agree with that. He's
Andrew
talking
Tate
about people who
trying to do in the Tates.
Yeah, he's talking about people who Andrew Tate totally disagrees with, and he will curse them out and tell them all about their mother and father.
Exactly.
Right? But he's doing that because his reasons for doing that is his reasons for doing it. But he's not doing it to run them down just because he doesn't like them. It's because of certain things that they're doing or saying about him. You know, and we know that the media are
have their own agenda.
Exactly the same thing.
Yeah, it grows the channel. That, you know, ad revenue, increased views, you know, interaction. So just like there's networks that have grown and failed on the basis of what Trump has been doing in his day or his month or in his year, that's all they've pretty much talked about. And when it's gone quiet, their ratings have gone quiet too. So Andrew Tate,
but it's pretty much a love-hate relationship too.
Yeah, completely.
It's a love-hate relationship. You know, they want you to love the person who's saying all the off-key things, but they also want you to hate them for saying those things at the same time. So you know, it just keeps everything all agitated and in a nice place where you and
someone
if you
to blame.
just say one thing too far in the wrong direction, then you
You're
get
in with the
taken
bad
out.
people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Talked a lot about powerful people from history, many of them very malevolent in the way they had their power. Who, when you
Talk
think
about
back
Winston
in history,
Churchill now.
is a great example of good power? In other words, somebody that had a lot of power and utilized
I'm
it
not too sure
in a
about
really
that good power.
impressive
Like,
and good way.
Like there's one person that's inherently good and other people are more bad than them. I don't really buy into that, you know. I know they're trying to portray somebody in a certain light.
Yeah.
But as you know, as far as humanity goes, which we are all part of, I don't believe in somebody famous is inherently better, more good, or whatever than the rest of us. Not
And
sold
there's
on
that
Well, they're
term
fewer.
also,
They're more
power.
the malevolent.
There's that term quickly, sorry. Power corrupts, and ultimate power corrupts. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I agree with that.
Absolutely.
I agree with that. And I
Yeah.
agree with that. And I believe some of that is what's going on right now. When you look at the superpowers and the world leaders, they have so much power, they don't think there's anyone who can tell them no. And you see the road that's going down where it can't be stopped until, you know, life or some energy steps in where nobody can really, you know, push back against. And then everybody's put in their place.
Yeah.
So
2012 is a good example of that. That film is a great example of that.
Oh, I haven't come across that.
What?
No.
2012, bro. No. No. 2012.
2012.
Oh my gosh.
Is it a war movie? See
that film. Yeah, it's an old movie now. It's an old movie. You need to watch that film, bro.
Well, you know what? I'll look that up. My mum has this saying, yeah, because you'll find like African people, and I guess it's similar with Caribbean people, probably Irish people and people from certain other cultures too. They, you know, the ones who grew up in the, you know, pre-Windrush and pre-60s, they grew up around a lot of parables. It's almost like, you know, the education was passed on via a lot of these sayings, and one of them that I've heard my mum
wisdom
using a lot. Yeah, the way they'll express knowledge and wisdom is like she used to say, still does at times. Every day is for the thief, yeah. Although one day is going to be for the owner. So you know what I mean. You know, even that super duper whoever the most powerful person, they might be winning daily. There's one day they ain't gonna win. That's just the law of nature, or whatever you want to call it.
Variety, but I think to me one of the icons would have to be Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now
I'm gonna leave it at that point, Daniel, because you know you can find the rest of the video. It's fairly long. Video. His shows are normally about an hour-ish or so. Well, you know, not super long. It's not like a Joe Rogan experience. So you can find the rest of it if you want to view the whole thing by just looking up Piers Morgan Uncensored. For now, I guess me and Dan Keck from Mere Diamonds are going to wrap up. So I'd just like to say we'll catch you tomorrow evening, a bit earlier than today, because we did 2 streams and we kind of went over into the twilight hours, which sadly to say is where I normally do my reaction videos and live streams. I'm going to say be good and be safe, and if you can, be creative. You've been listening to myself, Own Your Idea, here at CornerSpeak. I'm just about to depart. Before I do, I'll hand you back over to Dan Keck for Mere Diamonds Entertainment.
Yeah, well, coming from my guy, Owen CornerSpeak, YDI, I say we're gonna come across with right knowledge, right wisdom, right understanding, and take it to the point where, you know, we get some clarity out of this. So, you know, let's just keep moving forwards with this. And good night, or good evening, or good morning, and goodbye.
Depending on your time zone. Goodbye from him, and it's goodbye from me. We out.
From me.